Well, Razorback fans, it was a quiet day in the transfer portal for Arkansas, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why it was so quiet here on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I am also the host of Inside Arkansas Live, which you can catch every weekday starting at noon on Inside Arkansas and InsideArkansas.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't even know these at this point in time. I mean, the days have just blurred all together, and I feel like I'm finally getting back on my normal time, but it is officially the month of April, and as you can tell, I wore this shirt just for all of you as part of a little April Fool's fun, but man, I miss this logo. I really do. But still, it's great to have you guys joining me and talking about everything that's going on when it comes to Razorback sports. And we'll get in a little bit of the baseball team here in a little bit, as well as some other things going on with Arkansas, as well as the transfer portal, as high school recruiting, all of that stuff. But I have to speak about this particular thing that so many people were bringing up all throughout yesterday, where there's players in the portal that are getting mentioned and that are connected with Arkansas, that Arkansas is connecting with them, and they're setting up meetings. They're doing phone calls and Zooms, and you have players that are getting down from 17 schools to 5 schools, and Arkansas is one of them. You know, there's just ever ongoing in an evolution of this entire process. And I noticed yesterday that people started getting really impatient. It was almost like people just expected out of the gates to have players on campus already. To have the transfer portal, boom, 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 have it knocked out, quick, fast, and in a hurry, and then that's it. We move on. We got our roster. Let's go. It was Tuesday yesterday. The portal is pretty new, and adding players is a thing that you just don't do. I mean, in some cases, it'll happen. Some cases, you see players that get added to schools, or schools add some players at particular times, but it's not just within the snap of your fingers. And yesterday, there were a few players that were getting moved around, and some of them that were interested in the side of things when it comes to Arkansas specifically. And Cal meeting with some of them, or at least being connected with them. Some of them ended up dropping off where Arkansas was no longer one of the schools that they were looking at, or whatever it may be. And people started losing their minds. They started seeing this as some sort of negative, horrible thing that you just can't have, whatever. But my thing is, I say this every transfer portal process. It's okay to get excited, and it's okay to look at the potential and the possibilities of the type of players that you could end up adding onto your roster during this period. And it's fun to talk about the players that they are in contact with, or that they are targeting and trying to get in there. But it's not going to do anybody any good if you get excited, and then if it doesn't happen, or if it doesn't go your way, you get upset about it. And you start freaking out, and you start saying, what's going on here? What's the problem? I thought we had all this money. I thought we had, where's the chicken man Tyson? Where's he at? Why have they not solidified this deal right now? And you start getting in your own head of something must be wrong. If a player goes from Arkansas interest to some other school interest, like, well, what happened? I thought we wanted him. Why would Cal even go after him if he didn't want him? Did they feel like they don't have the money? I mean, what's the problem here? There's such a process behind all of this, folks, and there's a method to the madness. Now, I'm going to admit that the transfer portal is still relatively new. The NIL is still relatively new. I think it's definitely given us a little bit of a more understanding of what it is and what goes on with it and all of that. But what's also new to Arkansas is the fact that John Calipari is your head coach. Now, I feel like I got it to a point to where I was really understanding and feeling out how Muss was handling it. And last year, around this time, when John Calipari was hired as the Razorback head coach, we got to see a little bit of what he does in the transfer portal too. But that was something that needed to happen pretty quickly and had it to be put together and thrown together and have all the setup and go through the coaching and the coaching staffs and adding it. Not to say that there was a problem with what Arkansas did. It was just, I'm going to go out on a limb and say much different than what Cal was normally used to, because he had so many other things going on where he had to establish the foundation at Arkansas and then going into the portal. Well, now you don't have to do that. You don't have to worry about, getting all the other things in place. Your program has been established. Now it's just about you focusing on getting the guys in the roster. And this also goes into, folks, with people trying to leave Arkansas or may end up leaving Arkansas. What about the guys that will be going pro? When are they going to announce? What about the guys that are returning to Arkansas? When are they going to announce? What about the guys that are entering the portal? When are they going to announce? It's like you got to have your news right now, right now, right now. But from what I know and what I've seen from John Calipari is he is an extremely methodical man that likes to work in the shadows, which is such a weird dynamic because he is a very much larger than life personality. He likes being the center of attention, face out there, making sure that he gets seen, making sure that he's doing his thing. And he always has been that way. Whether it's the marketing side of stuff, whether it's the big games that he's able to schedule in big arenas and venues. He's all about the box office. He's all about the popcorn, and he's all about those things because that's what helps him in recruiting and getting to those guys and everything. That's what comes together for him. So for him to have that type of personality and mixing it with the way he approaches this particular thing with players and roster management as being behind the scenes and working in the shadows, it's a very weird thing. It's almost hard to wrap your head around. But last year, if you think about it, the getting the Nelly Davis and getting the Jonas Adus, which, you can say what you want about them, but at the time, for sure, they were the number 1 and the number 4 transfer portal ranked guys of the entire portal last year. When Arkansas was able to get those guys, it kind of happened very quickly. And it happened really before anybody could see it coming. It was a very interesting way and process, but you got them on board. And then the rest of it kind of fell into place. Not to say that you hit on all the guys that you wanted, because there were some guys that Arkansas wanted, didn't get, and that's fine. But you got the high school recruits, you got some of the big-time transfers, you got all those things, and it worked out. It worked out for you this past year. And so you're going to see something similar this year, where you're going to have guys that are on the roster that will make it known that if they're going to be coming back or if they're going to be moving on. But you're going to have guys in the transfer portal also that you may not even hear about, you may not even think about, you may not even know that they're there or that they're about to be there. And then suddenly you get a tweet from Joe Tipton, so-and-so has entered into the portal. This is his averages. He's one of the best players in the portal. And then just minutes, hours later, boom, this guy is committed to Arkansas. He's going to be playing for John Calipari, and here's the role that he's going to be in. And you're going to be like, what the crap just happened? I didn't even know this guy 5 minutes ago, and now he's out and into the portal, and he's coming to Arkansas, and it's a phenomenal get. I have full belief that that's going to happen. I truly do. I have full belief that you are going to be surprised by, at least in a good way, 1 or 2 of these players that you're going to get out of the portal. Because that's John Calipari, man. Say what you want about the guy. Say what you want about him as a coach, and I know there's been plenty of things said about him. But the dude knows what he's doing, and the dude knows how to get dudes. The dude knows how to get guys that can play at the highest level, NBA caliber players. That's what he does. This is what he does. He eats this stuff for a living. And so I have no doubt that you're going to be extremely happy with the results of what happens with the transfer portal. I have no doubt that you're going to see some big-time, highly coveted players choosing Arkansas over all of these other major schools. I believe in all of that. And I say all of that to say this, folks, before we move on into the next segment, talking about portals and high schools and all that. I say all that to say this. Relax. Let's wait until the entire roster is assembled. Let's wait until we see what this team looks like, who's being enrolled officially, and then we can start to make our judgments. We can say, hey, was this a successful portal or not? Did they address the needs or not? Or is this a team that can win it all or not? Is it a team that gets you excited or not? We can do all of that once it's all finalized. But there is no reason to freak out, start saying, like, we don't know what's going on. Like, what do we do here? Blah, blah, blah. There's no reason for any of that. It's all fine right now. It'll come in time. I truly believe that you're going to keep the players that you want to keep. I truly believe that you are going to get the big time transfers out of the transfer portal that you want. And I believe that you're going to get these high school kids, these 5-star caliber athletes to be on campus, to be ready, and to be good for you. And I believe you're going to have a so much more successful season next year. That's what I believe. And I'm not going to stop believing in that until I'm proven otherwise. But just be patient. Give Cal time. He knows what he's doing. Transfer portal, though, or high school recruits? Which one of them do you want more? Well, we'll talk to that in a second here on the other side of the break. So stay with us on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I'm here to tell you about Supplies House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades. Supply House, whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to get other products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with the complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast and from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always need to talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, get their free Trade Master programs offering exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. So join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That is supplyhouse.com.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, so moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So I mentioned the transfer portal and how important it is to Arkansas' success, and how the freshman class that is coming in for Arkansas right now, you got 2 5-stars, you got a high-level 4-star in Isaiah Seeley, you got the kid from overseas that's also going to be coming in, and it's amazing how it's changed. People want, we all want the best players, right? We all want players that's going to make the team better, that's going to make themselves as individuals better. And, that's always a good thing to have the most talent. I've heard that in sports. So it doesn't really matter to me how you do it, but so many people look at it as, okay, well, would you rather have the elite level one and done, or the high school caliber players coming in that are 5-star players, or would you rather have the transfer portal guys that are established college basketball players that can walk right in and just pick up right where they left off? Well, is a question, isn't it? I think the obvious one is transfer portal. I mean, what can be better than just going in and having the type of players that you need immediately inserted, who are 21, 22, 23-year-old guys who have already proven that they can play at the college basketball level, in some cases at a very high level. I mean, why would you not want those players and want many of them? I agree with that sentiment, but I also believe there is a need. There is a desire. There is a reason to have kids that are coming straight out of high school that are 5-star caliber athletes on your team as well. You got to have a balance of it, folks. You got to have a balance. And Cal has had this weird angst stereotype of, oh, he just likes the young players, one and done, and that's it. He doesn't want to worry about any other players, and that's not what wins you things, and blah blah blah. Which I don't know if I really agree with, considering that there's been a lot of players that played for Cal for multiple years. I think about the Harrison twins, think about Willie Cauley-Stein, think about Oscar Shibwe. I mean, just to name a few. Yeah, there were some one and dones in there, but there were also some players that played for a while under Cal. But it's about having the leadership, the solidified, established player from the transfer portal, but also having the young, energized players that are freshmen in college that know that they're about to make it big, that know they're about to get drafted high in the NBA, that have that swagger to go along with them. There is a bonus to it. And some of you Razorback fans, not all, but some of you Razorback fans have almost this sour feel towards 5-star players or these one-and-done caliber players. And I kept trying to figure out as to why that is. And after a while, I think I came to this conclusion. The reason that maybe you're not as big on 5-star players, or why Razorback fans aren't as big on 5-star players, is because the 5-star players you've actually gotten over the past 20 years, most of them didn't pan out the way that you thought they should. Or at least weren't the offensive players that you thought they should be. I think back to just a few years ago, Anthony Black, Jordan Walsh, Nick Smith. Those guys were all 5-stars. Now, it's not to say they were bad players at all, because I'm not saying that. But we know we didn't get to see Nick Smith at his full potential because of injury. Anthony Black was really good, one of my favorite Razorbacks, but he wasn't just that offensive juggernaut, an offensive threat. And Jordan Walsh, it took him until pretty much close to the end of the season to finally come into his own. So you didn't really get a full-fledged look at a 5-star caliber player from that. Think about Olu Famutimi going way back when. Didn't really live up to that 5-star hype. You did have a 5-star coming here in Arkansas named Al Jefferson, but he decided to go to the NBA instead. And that was it, pretty much. You had some high 4-stars. You had the Bobby Portises. You had the Daniel Gaffords, Moses Moody. Those players that were high 4-stars that got looked at. But when you're talking about the bona fide 5-star dudes across the board, you haven't had a whole lot, but the ones you have had weren't really the ones you were expecting, or at least weren't the offensive step into that role perfectly just and get it done. Again, I want to reiterate, I'm not saying they're bad players. You just didn't get to experience them. But then you think about what Cal has had at Kentucky and some of the one-and-done players that he had that were so good. You think about the John Walls. You think about the Anthony Davises. You think about Boogie Cousins. You think about Karl Anthony Towns, Devin Bookers. I mean, you think about these players who are now playing in the NBA and doing great things. A lot of them were one-and-done players, and a lot of them did incredible things as those one-and-done players at Kentucky. Like, it can happen. And a lot of those players that were at Kentucky, who were 5-star players, maybe took them a little bit longer. But there were some of them that stepped around on the campus and they were those dudes. Boom. Just those dudes. Now with Maleek Thomas and Darius Auff, 2 5-stars that are coming in, are they going to be those dudes? I certainly hope so. It'd be great if they were. What about Nate Ament, who is still in the running? Still in the running for Arkansas. If Arkansas was to get him, if Arkansas was to get three bona fide 5-star players, is that such a bad thing? Is that such a negative? Is it going to make you feel like, oh, no, I don't like this. Don't like this at all. No, it's going to excite me tremendously. And it's going to make me feel really good about having those freshmen play with established players on Arkansas's roster and then thrown into the transfer portal. All of it coming together as one. Because, again, you need to have that balance, but also the number one thing that I feel that players, especially in the game of basketball, want to do more than anything is play with other great players. Yeah, they want to play. They want to have the ball in their hands. They want to do those things. But they want to have complementary pieces that are great players that they can play with and get ready for and help in practices and all that and get them ready for the next level. That is what is a domino effect in basketball, and that is what Cal is really good at. All it takes is to get one big one, and then the rest of them want to come and be a part of it. And I think we're going to see that here again soon. I really do. But we'll talk a little Razorback baseball here in a second. They did win yesterday, but it was a little weird, a little tired. We'll get to that in a second, so stay with us here on Locked On Razorbacks podcast. All right, Razorback fans, I'm here to tell you about our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where'd all my money go? Between dining out and online shopping, entertainment, it's easy to lose track. But that's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility over and control over your entire finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all the accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you can just stop managing your money and start building your wealth, which is the most important thing. So instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever, and you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the main page and the same page without the stress to go along with it. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your very first year.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. So the Razorback baseball team did take care of business against Grambling last night. And, you know, it's like a lot. It was in North Little Rock. And I usually go to this game. This is like the first time in a long time I've missed this particular game because I do enjoy going to Dickie Stevens Ballpark and seeing the Hogs. But this was a year I just couldn't, man, with all the travel that we've been doing. And I got, having your own business and running your own company takes a lot of work out of you and everything. But either way, Arkansas got the win 7-4. And the broadcast itself was garbage. It was doo-doo because I don't know what was going on. I felt like I was watching I was tripping on acid and watching 80s music videos. It was weird. A lot of colors and glitches and everything. But still, it was fine. You got to win. But Dave Van Horn even said after the game about the team and saying, they look tired out there because it's crazy. They're 27-3. They've played 30 games already this season. 30 games, and the Arkansas Razorbacks are 27-3. That's pretty good. I feel like that's pretty good. And they had a pretty emotional and draining series sweep over Vanderbilt. And traveling home, they go straight into Little Rock. And, Dave just felt like they were a little tired. You had Davon go 2 for 5. You had Vahiva Aloy go 2 for 3. Kihio Aloy go 2 for 4. It was nice to see them have a nice little bounce backs there. But also Carson Bowles comes in, goes 1 for 3. Good stuff out of Tate McGuire. Came in, pitched 4 innings. Only gave up 1 hit and 1 run and had 4 strikeouts in that one. You also saw Colin Fisher come in for a little bit, Dylan Carter, Cole Gibbler. This isn't one of those games that you're just going to look back upon and be like, man, what a performance by the Hogs. That was great. That was impressive. Can't believe how they were able to do that. It's not going to be one of those games, but here's where my positivity comes into play. You still got a lot of season left in Missouri's this week, and hopefully the weather holds off because weather's going to be all bad around Arkansas really this week, but especially this weekend. But you got to take care of business. You got to do what you're going to do. But if that is a tired Razorback team, if that's the type of performance you're going to get from a tired Razorback team, a team that when they've gone to North Little Rock at times have lost games, have been kind of gross games, if that's the performance they're going to give, then I'm good. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great about this team. I said it the other day. It's hard not to get too excited, but here I am getting too excited. Here I am getting pumped up because I know that Arkansas has all the makings that they got going on. I know that they are really flying high, and I know that they're 27-3. Like, that is insanity. That's so good. Now, the toughest part of your schedule is going to be coming up after this Missouri series. I mean, you're talking about playing Tennessee, Texas, LSU, and Georgia. All 4 of those teams are in the top 5 with you. So, yeah, they're pretty good. And we'll see what they do through that. I'm not expecting them to go 10 wins in the SEC series. I'm not expecting them to do that. But We'll see what they're made of, but they're taking care of business. They're getting the job done, and that's what matters in the end. And that's the only thing that matters, to be honest. So keep it going, Hogs. Hopefully it ends up being a great weekend against Missouri, and hopefully end up taking care of business against them, because it's always good to beat Missouri and everything. But appreciate each and every one of you listening in and watching in to Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we'll keep going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. See you then.